Hello, this is Robin at Vet Comp and Penn Medical Consulting, and today I want to answer the question, what is the easiest VA disability to get? Many veterans want to know this because they don't want to file a claim and lose. Losing can be devastating to a veteran. So let's talk about the common thoughts out there, things that people think. Veterans seem to believe that tinnitus is the easiest claim to win, or acid reflux is the easiest claim to win. And I can tell you right now that the easiest claim to win is always the claim that is best supported by the medical evidence. The reason so many veterans are service-connected for tinnitus and acid reflux is because the medical evidence supports that they should be service-connected for those disabilities. Let's talk about what the medical evidence must show to win a disability. The medical evidence must show that you currently suffer a disability, a chronic problem that affects your life in some way. There has to be something in service that actually causes your current condition or leads to your current condition. It can be an event, injury, illness, something in service that is related to your current disability diagnosis. And there has to be a medical link or a nexus between your current diagnosis and something in service. If you have a current service-connected disability and you're filing a secondary claim, the thing that is in service is the condition, the disability that you're already service-connected for, causing or leading to a new diagnosis. So let's talk about tinnitus specifically, because a lot of veterans think that because so many veterans are service-connected for tinnitus, it must be easy. So let's talk about two hypothetical veterans. One veteran had a military occupational specialty of shooting guns, something related to arms. Could be cannons, anything. Frequently, veterans can't wear good hearing protection on active duty because they have to hear their commanders or their other team members in order to communicate, and hearing protection doesn't always allow good communication. So in order to function and perform well at their duty, frequently veterans take it out or don't wear it, don't wear the hearing protection. Veteran A, hypothetical veteran A, is exposed to enormous acoustic trauma in service. He gets regular hearing tests in service. Those hearing tests show what's called a threshold shift. In other words, their hearing tests show that even though they don't notice that they are having any difficulty hearing or are hard of hearing, the evidence will show that over time, even though it's not noticeable to the veteran, there's a shift in their ability to hear. They're not able to hear very faint noises anymore in certain frequencies. And then that veteran gets out of service, that veteran goes about their life, and they develop this constant ringing in their ear, and they go see a doctor about it, and the doctor says, you have tinnitus, and the veteran thinks, I've heard about tinnitus, I'm going to claim that because I hear that's an easy disability to win. In this situation, it is. That veteran experiences tinnitus, so they have a current diagnosis. The injury is military acoustic trauma in service that the VA is going to concede because of that veteran's MOS, they were exposed to enormous amounts of acoustic trauma. So of course, the VA is going to concede that they had an injury. And what's the medical evidence that the two are connected? The medical evidence is enormous amounts of research that show, especially veteran population, frequently is exposed to acoustic trauma that causes tinnitus, the disabling condition of tinnitus. And that veteran's hearing tests throughout the military showed the effects of that acoustic trauma, even though the veteran didn't notice any difficulty with hearing. So that veteran A, is going to win that. That's an easy claim to win because the medical evidence supports service connection for tinnitus for that veteran. Let's talk about veteran B. Veteran B went through basic training, shotguns, grenades, all kinds of things in basic training, and then got out and ended up working at a desk job for the rest of their military career. They get out of the military, they go about their life. Decades later, they start having tinnitus. And they go, you know what, I hear that's an easy disability to win. I'm going to claim that. So they claim tinnitus. They go to their C&P exam. The C&P examiner does an audiology test. There's no hearing loss. There's no indication that that veteran has any kind of hearing damage or acoustic damage to their ears. The rater looks throughout their, or the examiner looks in that veteran's military records and sees that their audiology exams throughout their military career on active duty were unchanged. There was no shift. That veteran didn't, there's no evidence of any acoustic damage for that veteran. The audiologist is going to diagnose that veteran with tinnitus currently because they're experiencing ringing in their ears. So the first element of service connection is satisfied. That veteran has a current diagnosis of tinnitus. Do they have an injury? Well, they suffered some loud noise exposure during basic training, but they didn't report tinnitus in service. Their hearing tests were normal throughout their active duty career, and now their hearing is normal decades later. So the VA might not concede acoustic injury for that veteran. And there's not a lot of medical evidence or research to show, without showing that that veteran was exposed to quite a bit of acoustic trauma in the military, that the veteran's current diagnosis of tinnitus is related to any acoustic trauma in service. So that veteran very well may lose that claim. So that's not necessarily an easy claim for that veteran. So the easiest claim to win is always the claim that's best supported by the medical evidence. Let's talk about backs. Very common. I think over 1 million veterans are service connected for neck or back strain. Is it because they're easy to win? No. It's because occupational hazards of active duty military life cause a lot of veterans to develop back pain in service, and it becomes chronic and they get treated for it. They get out of service, they continue to have back problems, they get a current diagnosis, they put a claim in, and they're going to win that claim. If they have a lot of evidence of chronic back problems in service, they have continuity of symptoms, and they have a current diagnosis of a chronic back problem. Where frequently veterans run into problems is when they get out of service, they don't claim their back right away, they're not service connected. They get out of service and they eventually develop, see a doctor for their chronic back. The doctor does x-rays and shows that the veteran has degenerative disc disease, for example. So that's his diagnosis. He puts a claim in his records, his service records. He was diagnosed with lumbar strain. He was given ibuprofen, and he was seen several times. So he has evidence in his service of chronic back pain. He has a current diagnosis of degenerative arthritis or chronic disc disease of his back. Are they related? Well, the examiner might determine that, you know what? He had an acute strain occasionally in service, had chronic back pain, but I don't think that his diagnosis of lumbar strain in service is related to his current degenerative disc disease. He might lose that claim. Interestingly, if he had a second diagnosis of chronic lumbar strain on top of degenerative disc disease, the veteran might win. And frequently, the pain is actually caused by strain, even though they have an underlying degenerative disc problem. So you can see that for veterans, service connected for their back, if they can show continuity of symptoms and a diagnosis that's similar to what they were diagnosed with in service, that's an easy claim. But if it's not, the diagnosis is not consistent, they could easily lose. And an example of that is over 1 million veterans are service connected for a cervical or lumbar strain. But less than 500,000 veterans are currently service connected for degenerative disc disease or degenerative arthritis of their spine. Usually happens later in life that they develop degenerative disease, and those veterans might have developed that related to their chronic back problems, but they're service-connected for strain. The medical evidence must show that the veteran should be service-connected. That's what makes a claim easy. Any VA disability claim that is supported by the medical evidence can be easy. Doesn't matter what it is. Many veterans are service-connected for tinnitus, lumbar strain. The reason is that the medical evidence supports that they had an injury or event in service, they have a current diagnosis, and they're related because these things are occupational hazards of active duty military life. I hope that you'll come to our company and let us review your case and let us get you all of the disability benefits that you're medically and ethically qualified for. Thank you.
The information contained in this video is informational and not professional advice. Rely on it at your own risk and see a qualified medical or other professional to discuss individual circumstances